I divide my life into two separate timelines. Before weight loss surgery, or BC, before Chelsea, and after weight loss surgery. Because bariatric surgery is such a transformative process in your life for both your body but also for your mental health, I wanted to share with you today what I wish I knew before I had surgery. Last week, I filmed a video about the practical, tactical, strategical tips and tricks for pre and post-op preparation. These were given to you because they were the resources that I wish I had when I was in my deep dive research process pre-op. Today, I want to talk to you more about the mindset part, the what I wish I knew to prepare in order to be successful in a post-op world. If you're new here, hi, I'm Chelsea. I'm a bariatric surgery support coach for women and also a VSG patient. My surgery was almost 6 years ago. You'll find my content primarily here on YouTube, where I upload at least once a week, but always on Sundays at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Sorry if you can hear a plow outside. I live on Cape Cod in Massachusetts, and we are having our first snow day of the year. And I'm pretty active over on Instagram as well, if you'd like to follow along there. This channel is a mix of all things I like to consider informative and joyful. So if you are interested in weight loss surgery content, including things like my own personal journey, client questions, Q&As, information like today's session, please make sure you subscribe. If you're looking for Disney content, I'm your gal. I am a very niche, I would say, idea of a Disney-loving, champagne-drinking, bariatric surgery coach. If you're into any of that, this is the place for you. As I mentioned last week, my primary motivation for making these videos is to give you the resources and information and consistency that I wish I had had 6 years ago when I was having surgery. I hope you find today's content packed with value. Let's get into it. Something that I was crystal clear on well before the day that I was rolled into the surgery pre-op room was my why, my reason for going through with this surgery instead of just continuously trying the one more diet. If you watched my first ever bariatric video here on YouTube, the one that I thought nobody would watch yet, here we are. This many years later, you know I talked a lot about my daughter, Callie. She's 8 now, and she was only 3 at the time. And I believe if I had never become a mother, that I don't know if I would have gone through with surgery. I don't know if I would have felt it urgent enough to have surgery. She was and still very much is my why, my reason for most things in life. And I'm so glad that it was the impetus of wanting to be a good role model for her and breaking the generational trauma around obesity for her that led me to VSG and the life that I get to have today. What I didn't know is how much I would lean on my why, how much I would need to know that reason post-op. There are some very hard days after weight loss surgery, and for me, they didn't happen immediately when I had the excitement, the newness, the momentum to handle them. They came much later on when I was tackling my coping mechanisms or the lack thereof, my mindset, my inability to binge eat. Those times, the hard parts, that's when I needed to know why I was doing this so I didn't do anything self-destructive. These continue to happen periodically. They happen with dumping syndrome and weight loss stalls. And in the beginning, more so in that first or second year, the FOMO I had around going on vacation and not being able to enjoy what everyone else was enjoying. This happened the first time that Mark took me back to Disney World when I was post-op. I was still not able to drink alcohol because my clinic had a 12-month hiatus. And we went to, of all places, a rosé bar in the Grand Floridian, and Mark orders a glass of champagne, and I simply could drink water. So in those moments, I really had to go back to, why did I do this? Why is this going to be beneficial, rather than just trying to slurp tiny sips of champagne from his glass. I want to mention here that the hard days I'm talking about are not nearly as emotionally draining or hard as the days when I would spiral, because I felt like being fat came at the epicenter of everything that was wrong with me. So my hard days now are hard, but they're much easier than my days pre-op. The takeaway here is I think you need to know your why. If you don't have one, you're more likely to excuse behaviors that are going to not align with the future self that you envision. Know your why, write it down, build yourself a narrative or a future version of you, so that way you can come back to that when you are at a crossroads of decision making. What I wish I knew before surgery is that my desire to binge eat would not disappear. I assumed, incorrectly, that simply because I could not binge eat post-op, that I wouldn't want to do that action. So wrong. Wrong, wrong, wrong. My hunger hormone did quiet down. His name is ghrelin, by the way. If you didn't see my hormone video, I will make sure it is linked here for you. It did quiet for a while, and then he came back. And he didn't come back like with a vengeance. He simply showed up and said, remember me? I'm still here. And that sent me into an emotional spiral. I thought I had conquered this challenge when in fact the hormone had just disappeared for a little while or was suppressed. I felt super angry and frustrated by this. I assumed that I had experienced this huge success, this mental breakthrough, when in fact it was all my bodily hormones dictating my emotions all along. So I was mad when this hormone came back into action. And what elevated that frustration and that fiery anger was that the desire to binge eat could not be satiated by any other activity because I didn't have appropriate coping mechanisms at this time. I didn't know what would fill that emotional void except for eating. Ultimately, I had to go back to the source. I had to figure out why I was binge eating, which meant I had to work backward through a loop, figuring out my action and then what feelings led me there, and then what was I thinking about that got me to those feelings. This took me months, if not into over a year to figure out. In addition to figuring it out, I was also trying to develop coping mechanisms that weren't fast food or wine. I was doing this all on my own through meditation, journaling, inner child work. It took a long time and it was hard. Does any of this sound familiar to you? If so, I think I have a resource to help. I've built and created a totally free live masterclass all around secrets to weight loss surgery success, specifically how to identify your cues and triggers for binge eating. The goal of this masterclass is to get you to a place where you can say, I'm having an aha moment, I've figured out the cause of what's getting me there, and now I know how to take steps to stop this action. It is the resource that I wish I had pre-op and didn't, and I did the work on my own. You can also do it absolutely on your own. Just know that it will take longer. I hope you will use me as a guide so I can help you cut your time in half or more to get you to a place where you're not secret eating, feeling that shame, embarrassment, and failure spiral, that you will use my mistakes to get you where you need to go faster. This course is going to be delivered live by me, yours truly. There's a Q&A at the end. So even if you are thinking, I don't even worry about binge eating, first of all, congratulations, that's amazing. And you're just looking for some resources to help you pre and post-op, come to the masterclass. There are 3 different options to sign up for. It's free. All you need is a name and an email address. The link is in the description box. Let me know if you have questions in the comments. I'm happy to answer them too. I'm just really excited to finally get this out to you. So hopefully it will help you on your journey. Pause this video, go save your seat. There are only a certain amount of seats per session. Sign up now. I hope to see you inside. The third thing that I wish I knew prior to having surgery is what type of movement I enjoyed. My exercise experience before surgery was a range. For a lot of my former life, I was an athlete, and then when I started to gain weight, my exercise devolved into punishment for something I had eaten, something I had or had not done. So I was putting myself through a lot of very intense cardio, HIIT workouts, and what I did know is that I hated those. So when it came time for me post-op to start building and regaining my muscle, toning the skin that was becoming quite flabby while I was losing weight, I didn't know what my go-to was. I simply knew that I didn't want to do super long distance running or very intense cardio, which again isn't the point of movement post-op. I had no idea where to start, and it took me months of trial and error, which was very expensive because I was signing up for gym memberships to see if I could do things on my own. I was buying equipment for myself here at the house. I was signing up for classes and memberships at like cycling places, yoga places, Pilates studios. Like I was trying all of it because I didn't know my movement identity. I also questioned if this workout, this movement, this exercise makes me feel good, is it actually doing anything for me or does it qualify as exercise? Can you hear the limiting beliefs in those questions? That if it made me feel good, it wasn't hard enough. I wasn't working at it enough for it to qualify as exercise. Like, yikes, Chels, I didn't know how to trust my own choices. Eventually, I did find a way to incorporate movement in small quantities that felt good for me, that has since become a habit, a routine, a ritual, a system. You can use whatever word you'd like to there. Prior to surgery, I wish that I had experimented, even just from the safety and comfort of my home, to figure this out. I know myself. I would never have gone to a variety of gyms or classes pre-op because I was the girl who shouldn't have been in those classes in my own mind. But I wish that I had tried like yoga on Apple Fitness Plus or on free videos on YouTube, whatever they were, to figure out what were the variety of workouts that I like to do, what is the time frame that I feel comfortable doing them, and that I can build into every single day. In case you're curious, those exercises now are primarily stretch and flexibility based. I do still love me a good hot yoga class. I like Pilates, though I am definitely still weakest in my abs, and I really like strength. This one might be controversial, but I wish I had taken more photos. I know. In the BC stage, I was so good at taking like the angled photo, that millennial angle, so that way you could only see from like the crown of my head basically to here and never anything to do with my body. I was the photographer. I took so many photos of my daughter, my friends, my family, but I was never in them. Now I wish that I had more full body shots for comparison for sure, but also because I experienced body dysmorphia pretty aggressively, and I always thought that my body looked differently than it did. So the vision I have in my mind of what my body looked like was probably not the reality, and I wish that I had proof of that. I regret not being in more pictures with my daughter when she was little because I'm never going to get those exact memories or moments back, and it was because of the vanity of thinking how fat I was. Take the pictures, okay? I promise you'll want them later. The memory is more important than the body size, period. And my last, what I had wish I'd known, is I wish that I had said no to a family vacation 7 days after I had surgery. It really wasn't the recovery aspect of surgery that makes me regret this. It's the putting myself in the direct line of temptation. The mental energy and mental calories that it took me to not participate when the counters and cabinets were filled with fast food, snacks, cookies, Diet Coke, all of my former vices. My mom rented this lovely Airbnb in a state north to us for all of my family, my siblings, their spouses, all the kids, for us to enjoy a week together, which was great, except I couldn't enjoy meals with them. They spent a lot of time in the outdoor hot tub that I could not participate in because my scars were fresh and brand new. I couldn't even handle walking to a breakfast spot because I was dehydrated and it was hot outside. And even if I had made it to that breakfast spot, I would have been on protein shakes while they were enjoying chewing foods that I couldn't have. So I had a lot of FOMO, but I also had that fiery competition version of myself that said, you can do this. This is willpower. Just push through. I was not kind to myself that week. I should have stayed home and rested and used that time alone to fully recuperate. Just don't book the vacation that close after surgery, okay? Don't do it. You will not enjoy it the way that you want to. While I'm giving you all of my would-haves, should-haves, could-haves, I want to be so clear that having surgery is not a regret for me. It is hands down the single best thing I've ever done for myself. My only regret is that I didn't do it sooner, but I wanted you to have the information about the things that I wished I had done earlier or what I wish I didn't do, so that way you can make better decisions than I did when you're post-op. Before we sign off, I want to remind you that I have the free masterclass to the secrets of weight loss surgery success, specifically focusing on binge eating, why you do it, and how to overcome it, going on right now. The signups are happening. These classes will take place over the course of 3 different days, but that's it. Then they are done. So make sure you get a seat. It's free. It's live, and you can ask me questions. All the information will be in the description box below. I love you so, so much. I hope you're having a magical month. We are getting closer to spring every single day. And for those of you who love winter, enjoy it while it's here. Second plow. I hope to see you inside my free masterclass. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I will get back to you shortly. I love you so much. Bye, friends.